Hello there. Here is the video where I show you how to get started using the Troop Finances Tracker, doing just the initial setup to make it your own. So you have to start by going to the blank Troop Finances Tracker, and notice this here, yellow cells are the ones you should type into. So most of what we're going to do in this video is just typing into yellow cells. Now, when you're on this blank one, you will not be able to type into yellow cells because this is my copy for others to use, but to make copies of. So if you haven't already been prompted to do this, go to File, Make a Copy, and give it a name that makes sense to you. I'm going to give it my made-up troop number. Do not share it with the same people unless you want me to have access to it, because I'll have access otherwise. And here we are. We have our very own file that now you can start making changes. So very first thing to notice is to note is that this I might have made some changes to the document since making this video, in which case it wouldn't maybe look exactly like this. So what you want to do is look for the tab called Setup. That's the very first thing you want to do. And you can see, for example, here's where you can type in some of your information about your troop. I'm just going to copy and paste to save some time, checks payable to, all of this stuff. All right, this yellow stuff we'll get back to in a minute. First, let's go to another tab called Budget Categories. And again, these might be slightly different order. If you can't find a tab, scroll to the right or scroll to the left to see maybe it's just somewhere else. All right, so my budget categories. If you note right here, here's my troop number, and that came from the setup page. But you could go ahead and type in, this is yellow, meaning I'm expecting you to change this if needed. I also want to note, if you scroll to the right, there's a lot of instructions on how to add rows, what these things are for, how to print. So go ahead and read those. I would highly suggest that. But now we go back to this page. Here's a section where you can type in how many people are in your troop of various roles, various levels. Here's a bunch of events. I have expenses in 3 categories. I have events at the top. And then I have insignia. And again, there's blank areas. I have other expenses. Change it if you want. That's fine. This is just the way that made sense to me. Then we have income at the bottom, troop dues, fundraisers. This in and out is things like in our troop, we ask parents to pay the program support fee and the girl registration. So they pay it to us. We pay it to national. It's an in and out. It's just whatever comes in, we send out again. So that's why it's here, because I didn't want it messing up. I didn't need it. Everything else comes from troop dues or fundraisers. Now, in your case, maybe you get your program support fee from your fundraiser. In that case, take it out of this area and type it into this area, program support fee. So this really is your file. Do with it whatever you want. Now, in this case, though, I guess I could have, there's not an easy way to do the formula for this because of the whole sister cap, so you'll just have to do the math yourself. Maybe down the road I'll put a formula for that as well. Who knows? Anyway, so some of these are just straight, give it a name if you don't like my name, or take it off completely, like maybe it's father-daughter event instead of he and me. Welcome back picnic, you're going to do $50 for that. You're going to do $100 for these other things. Just start typing things in. Now, some of these things are not yellow, so I'm not expecting you to type into them. Rather, they come from a formula. And if you're ever wondering, well, where is this coming from? For example, level awards, where is that coming from? If you just click into this formula, you see how these are color-coded now. So this is telling me the number of people in orange times the per person, how many level awards per person in purple, and then times the estimated cost per level award in blue. And that's giving me, I'm going to hit escape, meaning I don't mess anything up, to get back out of there. And that's where this number is coming from. So badges, for example, where is that coming from? Well, that's coming from these areas. I'm going to hit escape. So maybe your troop pays for up to 10 badges per girl, and you estimate $375 to include shipping and handling and taxes. So that puts this number up to $1,000. Maybe you only pay for 2 badges per girl, or maybe you pay for 0 badges per girl. It's all from the family. So Now, what about if you you pay for all badges, however much it is? Maybe historically you always pay right around $800 for badges. Then go ahead and just type that in. You can just overwrite the formulas. That's fine. What you might want to do in that case is make sure that you realize you've overwritten the formula. Go to a yellow cell, click the paint format button, click on the cell you just overwrote, and now you've labeled it as a yellow cell, meaning I typed into this, it's not a formula. Okay, what these columns are for, you can read in the instructions. What else did I want to say about this? Hopefully, well, I don't know. If you have questions, let me know. But let's move on. Transactions does not have much in, well, this is all in yellow, but this isn't really set up. The only thing you need to set up here is the date that you're starting this and your beginning bank balance right here. Then let's go on to the reimbursement form, the deposit form. These are the other things that you might want to change. The reimbursement form, you might want to change these categories. These are the categories that we typically have people purchasing for that don't have a Troop credit card, so they need reimbursement. If that's not the case for you, like maybe you have a parent who buys all the badges for you and then is reimbursed and badges isn't on here. That's because, let's go back to the setup. The names themselves come from budget categories, but whether it's included or not comes from the setup page with this RF. You mark RF next to anything that you want to include on the reimbursement form, RF. So we want to include these on the reimbursement form because we have a person who buys them for us without a Troop credit card or a Troop banking account. Now, if we go back to the reimbursement form, sure enough, badges is on there. Level awards is on there. So that's how you change this one. As for the rest of this, some of this is just text, like submittal methods, submit completed form with receipts. If you want this to say anything else, go ahead and change it. That's fine. This is our method, but you can change it to be your own. Some of these, like the email, if you want to change the email, you don't change the email here, you change the email on setup right here. So you can kind of see, is this just text, like this thing or this thing? Like maybe you don't have a treasurer box, maybe you have a file folder. So you could just say into the file folder at the Troop meeting. But if it's like this, the email, if your treasurer changes and you need a new email, you don't do that here, you do that under setup. Or maybe it's even, you don't like, whatever. So just type in whatever you want here, even though it's not yellow. You can do what you want. Now, the last thing for setting this up, I haven't figured out a good way to make a copy of this and still have the categories and also make it editable, like so that other people can use it online. I haven't figured out a good, easy way to do that. So what we do in our Troop is I do file, where is it? Print. Once I have it set up the way I want, if it's not showing up, it should fit on one page. If it isn't, for whatever reason, either make your margins bigger, custom numbers, you can just type them in here, make your margins smaller, I mean, or go back, do cancel, and make some of these rows a little bit smaller to fit it onto one page. Okay, so we have it on one page, and then I do next, and then I'm going to save it as a PDF. You could try, I should try save to Google Drive and see what that does to the formulas and everything else, but save it as a PDF and hit save, and then you can disperse that to you can email it to people if they need it. You can also print out paper copies. So, and that I think takes you to the end of setup. If you have any questions, you can leave them as a comment on the video, or you can see my email here. You can send me an email. All right, take care. Bye-bye.